In our first video, we showed you how to divide into categories by default all of your email coming in. And you can choose to do that, or you can choose to just have one giant inbox where everything comes in, and that's fine, whichever you prefer. In the second little video, we showed you how to use the stars to mark and code things as either yellow by default or off, or you can add a variety of colors if you want to sort and organize things. You can choose the various star colors to mean something to you. And then we also figured out how we could categorize, or pardon me, not categorize, but label emails according to some sort of filter process. So we created some labels and we set up some filters that would identify them, as well as move them over to primary. And the filters can do a lot more than just that, and you'll get to play around with them as much as you want or as little as you want. For this last little part, I thought I would look at how do we make this more pretty for you. Because, you know, it's pretty dull, and for a lot of people, staring at the email list, as useful as it is not all that pleasant of a task. So I'm going to come back over to the settings cog, go back to the settings choice within that cog, and we'll pull up our list of choices again up at the top, categories. And one of those choices is themes. And a theme is Google's way of describing the visual appearance of your interaction with the computer. Now, there are some by default that are color themes, and you can choose some pretty ones. I've chosen one called High Contrast. It lets me see at a glance things that are, stark white I haven't looked at yet, things that are gray I have. You could choose any of these and they'll just look prettier maybe. There are some high definition themes if you want some really fancy pretty stuff going on. I'm a simple dude, I don't really want any of that. But there's a whole world of them down here. You can even choose random, it'll pick a different one for you each time. Under custom themes, there's some categories. You can choose light or dark, and clicking within those will give you more choices. So this is a way that you can change the appearance of your mail interaction, email interaction. The rest of it, that's kind of your business. One of the other useful sections here under that category is labs. Now, the Google Labs projects are things that they are experimenting with, additions that can be made to your Gmail account that may or may not be kept in the long run. So I wouldn't rely heavily on anything in here because they're not finalized, but sometimes they're really useful. So I've gone down and picked out a few of these that I think are pretty handy. Adding any gadget by URL. Google Gadgets are fancy ways of having some unique interaction with your page, and I want to be able to enable those for use later on. Authentication icon for verified senders. I'm choosing that, and it'll pop up a little key symbol next to an email that comes from someone who's verified. Meaning if I get an email saying it's from eBay, that little key means that Google has checked the identity of the sender, and they are pretty reliably from eBay. That sort of thing is really helpful. So I clicked enable there. It'll help avoid spam. Extra emoji. That way if someone sends me fancy faces or silly little symbols, I'll know what that silly little symbol means because I don't know what they mean by text. I want the actual picture to show up. I can get a smiley face or a winky. Anything beyond that, I can't handle. A Google Docs preview in Mail means that instead of having to open a Google Doc you're sent, you get a little thumbnail-sized view of it within the email. It gives you an overview of a piece of documentation, lets you decide whether you want to go to the trouble of opening it or you just want to see, okay, yeah, it's there, and move on. I'd also like to be able to insert images like graphs, charts, and things actually within the email, rather than just as an attachment. So I've enabled that one as well. I also like the Mark as Read button. This allows me to take an email that I really haven't necessarily opened up and read, but mark it as if I have. That's really useful for a lot of those emails that you get from companies wanting you to buy things, or maybe a group forum or mailing list that you want to receive the email for, but you don't want to necessarily read it at that moment, so you're just going to mark it as read, so it'll sit there in your inbox in case you should ever need it. Pictures in chat. Well, if you've got a picture associated with your Google profile, it'll pop up next to you in the chat if you've enabled this lab feature. Undo send, we talked about that a little bit ago. This is a oops, I shouldn't have sent that button. Now the catch is, if they open it immediately before you do that, you're out of luck. But if it's unopened and it's within that time frame you selected within the settings, you can undo send. That message will pop up right after the send, and it'll stay available for as long as you have that option. It's a handy little tool. An unread message icon. This allows you to, up at the top tab within Google Chrome, to see how many emails you've got in your inbox that haven't been read yet. It's a pretty handy thing if you've got your email running in the background, you've got other tabs open across it, like your Google Sites or your Google Doc. You can, with a glance, see if there's anything new in your inbox without having to click over to that tab yet. Auto Advance, it has to do with taking a look at other parts of the conversation rather than the first part of the conversation. I've left that alone for now. I want to get used to Google's defaults first and see what I like. Background Send, that will allow you to send an email, and if your account happened to be really slow, you could go on to other things while it was sending. Canned Response, do you find yourself sending out the same email all the time? That's what this is for. You can create some automated or close to automated responses. If what you want to say is yes, I'll get right to it, you can create an email that does that, and with one click send an email that does that. I haven't enabled that because I really don't have any use for it at the moment. Custom keyboard shortcuts, you can read through these. The ones that I think are really useful, I'm going to enable the Google Maps preview in Mail. So if someone sends me an email that has an address in it, I'll automatically get the map popping up next to it so I can see where it is, since I don't know my way around Michigan all that well yet. The Google Calendar gadget will add a box in the left column. That's over here where I've got this other stuff that has your daily calendar agenda in there. I'm going to enable that because I'd like that dude to pop up over there. I want my calendar there at a glance. There's all sorts of other useful ones in here. I'll let you scroll down at your own time. Here's the right side chat. I like this one. See all this stuff for the chat features, video chat and whatnot? I'd like that to be over on the right hand side, so that I have just email and calendar over here on the left, and all of my chat stuff will appear over on the right. So I'm going to enable that. It's a way of dividing up some of that clutter over at the left. So we've got choices, and these will change over time as new ones come in and as old ones get pulled out. You can even suggest a labs feature if you come up with something really clever and you think they could implement it. Then at the bottom you have to click Save Changes. None of those options will be there until you click Save Changes. It takes a few moments, and as you can see up at the top it said it was saving there. And here we go. Hopefully all of those changes will be in place. We'll be able to take a look and see. Come on, computer. Hey, there we go. So over on the left, my inbox options, my categories, my circles, and all of my labels, color coding that I made, and the option to show more things that I've chosen to hide. Opening up over here on the right are all of my chat preferences. It's checking those folks who are available. As usual, Mr. Huber is always online, ready to go. My other science people are here just because those are people that I've created some extra tags for, so I could chat with them on a fly if I needed to. And then over here, hopefully, if the Google gadget will start to work, I'll be able to get a calendar in there. I'm not seeing it pop up yet, so that may mean I need to go into settings and fiddle with it a little bit, or it may just mean that that little lab item doesn't work all that well. I'll come over here to the settings menu, and we'll go here to settings again. And if you'll notice, I've got all sorts of useful things in my general section. I'm not seeing anything about the calendar yet in here, so it may just take a while to pop up, or maybe the Google Labs is just not working real well on that particular feature. No big deal. I'll poke at it, and if I get it figured out, I'll post a little comment or something to this tube so you can see how it's done. So I hope that's helpful. Remember, the big things to know: you can organize your inbox by categories, and you can let the computer do that for you. And if you don't like it, you can take that away. Just click right next to it and choose to hide it. And then all of your email gets sorted into those other categories. Right? You can choose to create labels. Choose to create labels for your email. And every email you can tag with this label, whether it's done by default using one of our filters or not. And you can change your appearance by hitting the Themes button and the Lab button, and then the Gadgets button later on. You'll be able to find all sorts of fun gadgets to install. Just do a web search for Google Gadgets and see how much fun you can have with it. I hope this is all helpful. Let me know if there's anything else you need, gang. Talk to you later.